Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy DLloyd. So I've been hearing over the last week on Twitter, on Instagram, people basically tell me that they don't think the Lakers got a good deal in the Anthony Davis trade. And how can I possibly think the Lakers got a good deal? Because they had to trade so many young assets, right? So many future draft picks. They mortgaged their future to bring in Anthony Davis. So I decided why not go ahead and make a video explaining why I think it was a good deal for the Los Angeles Lakers, even though, yes, they had to pay a hefty price for it. Now, I'm not saying the Lakers didn't give up a lot, because absolutely they did. But what they got back in return, at least to me, is a little bit more valuable than what they gave up in the long run. So, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers, they gave up Josh Hart, who I really did not want them to move on from, but they had to give up Josh Hart, gave up Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and, of course, a bunch of draft picks. Now, let's go through each player and kind of see how I feel about it and why I don't think all of their values together still isn't more valuable than Anthony Davis. Now, you have Josh Hart, a young player, a guy who's scrappy, who does a lot of that stuff that you want coming off the bench for you, especially long term. He is a valuable piece because he doesn't need to be the star player. He doesn't expect to be the star player, but he fills his role perfectly. I think he's always going to be a very valuable role player. But I think you can get other Josh Hart type of guys in free agency that's not going to cost you a lot. Sometimes you could get players like that for the veteran minimum. Yes, they're going to be older, but I think they're replaceable when it comes to finding another guy like a Josh Hart. You could find another player like that this offseason. So one, I don't think that's a huge loss. You have Lonzo Ball. And a lot of people talk about, of course, Anthony Davis being injury prone, which he is. I definitely give you guys that. Anthony Davis does get hurt, and you don't expect him to play a full season. But when have we seen from Lonzo Ball in the NBA that he could play a full season? We haven't. So that issue to me really isn't a big one. We give a player who's injury prone for another player who is injury prone. But when you look at the skills difference, nobody is even saying right now that Lonzo Ball is on the same level as Anthony Davis. And on top of that, when you look at how they play on the courts, Lonzo Ball, yes, he has potential. Yes, he could be a guy who could run a team. But he does a lot of the same things that LeBron James does currently. LeBron James is going to be the guy who's going to, be your primary ball handler. If that's the case, what is Lonzo Ball doing? Standing in the corner, standing off in the wing, ready to shoot threes? We know he's not the greatest three-point shooter in the world, so you're not really losing that much. Yes, the thought of Lonzo Ball is big. It's like, man, Lonzo Ball, he could be this great point guard. But you have one in LeBron James already there. So from that aspect, I don't think you're losing too much, and we seen them on the court together. It wasn't no, groundbreaking thing that we seen when Lonzo and LeBron played together. So for that one, I don't really mind it. I think Lonzo Ball actually benefits going over to the Pelicans. Now he can lob those lobs up to Zions, and he can run his own offense and push the ball up the court. You couldn't really do that in LA as long as LeBron James was there. The last person, Brandon Ingram, of course. Now, Brandon Ingram, I think, is a very, very talented guy. A guy who definitely has all-star potential. A guy who I think could be one of the leaders in scoring in years to come. You got to think about his age, still extremely young, has that length. If he could kind of get his shooting ability a little bit more perfected, which I think is going to come as he ages and how he's in the gym more and more, I think Brandon Ingram could be a problem. But trading that, you get rid of Brandon Ingram, who could potentially be a star. I think Brandon Ingram could get you 20 points a game now. But you're bringing in Anthony Davis, who we know is going to get you 27 points a game now. And Anthony Davis isn't no old guy. Anthony Davis still has a few years before he really enters his prime, right? So you getting a guy who wants to be in LA, who is young, who could carry the team once LeBron James hits that age. We don't know how long that is. Maybe LeBron kind of falls off this year. Maybe it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. But you have Anthony Davis, who was right there, that could take over the team And we know Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the world. All the other guys, we're hoping at one point they can become one of the best players in the world. But you're not guessing with Anthony Davis. You know exactly what you're getting, and you're battling against time. Brandon Ingram becoming one of the best players in 6 years, 5 years from now doesn't help the Lakers with their current standpoint of trying to win a championship right now. But Anthony Davis, you could bet on him being a top player over the next 5 years, over that run that LeBron James has with the Los Angeles Lakers. And on top of all that, you gave up some draft picks, but you were able to keep Kyle Kuzma, who's now going to be your third option. Unless the Lakers go out and get a max player, he's going to be your third option, maybe even fourth, depending on how the offseason goes and free agency goes. Kyle Kuzma as your third option is definitely a very, very scary thing. He's going to have more room to operate. I think he's going to have a big step up in terms of his production and really his efficiency more rather. Obviously, he's not going to get the same amount of shots, but he's going to get better looks. I like Kyle Kuzma. And with those draft picks, and if everybody stays healthy for the Lakers and they play to even remotely close to what we think they could play at, right? Even if they're not winning championships, but they're in the playoffs competing every year. Those draft picks, you're hoping they turn into a Kyle Kuzma, right? You pick in the late 20s, you're hoping maybe we could get a guy who could make some sort of impact. You're not really expecting a guy who's going to turn your franchise around. Well, you have one already in Kyle Kuzma. So yes, I think the Lakers, they got a really good deal by getting Anthony Davis. You got the best player in that entire transaction. Hands down. And he can help lure some other free agents potentially, right, to come to LA. I think that's a win. But I don't think this is a loss either for the Pelicans. When you think about it from their perspective, you have a guy who's about to leave. You could potentially not get anything back from him at all. And you got 3 guys who are young, who are going to be hungry, who are going to be ready to prove themselves. You then get Zion on top of that can help you. And you got a bunch of draft picks to help build in future seasons. The Pelicans got one heck of a haul. The Lakers, you get Anthony Davis. Yes, you had to pay for it. You knew he wasn't going to be free or cheap unless you waited until free agency, right? But with this, you're able to get have the potential at least to get another guy who could come in and make an impact. Now, who is that going to be? We don't know. We don't not know currently who is going to be, who's going to add on to that Lakers roster that we currently have. But the fact that you have the 3 guys in AD, LeBron, Kyle Kuzma currently, you have a chance to compete. And I think for the Lakers, that's very exciting. And I think for the Lakers, that's what they wanted. They didn't want to keep waiting. This is your time. Your time is in this next 3 to 4 year run that you have. So I just don't see any way the Lakers lost this deal. Now, Pelicans got a lot. Lakers got a lot. I think it's a win-win, which is rare. You don't see a lot of win-wins, but I do think it was a win-win. But you can't convince me, at least right now, that the Lakers lost this deal. You see my initial reaction when the trade went down. I was excited. A week and a little bit later, I'm still super excited for the Lakers and what they're going to do in the upcoming season. Of course, we're going to see how they put together the roster. They're going to go after a max player, or they're going to fill out the roster and add some depth. We'll see. I prefer them to add some depth as opposed to going after just one guy. But we'll see what the Lakers decide to do. But regardless, you have a core that you could build around that, regardless what you do, is going to compete. Now, we'll see if they're going to be a championship level or a playoff level. But you know they're going to compete just with the 3 players they have currently. Depending on what they add to it, they may be a championship contender. But that is my thoughts really about the situation. Like I said, I think it was a win-win. But I love the deal for the Los Angeles Lakers. You guys let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys think the Lakers won this deal? If you lost it, give me, your argument as to why the Lakers lost this deal. I'm definitely going to be in the comment section reading what you guys have to say about it. To me, I know we gave up a lot, but I think ultimately it was worth it. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section below. It's your boy DLloyd. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.